All right, let's get this going. We got 4, 3, and we had a hiccup too. How crazy is that, having hiccups right before the show? What's up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, and welcome to The Road to. My name is Jeffrey Powers. This is the first of many shows in the weeks to come leading to the events I go to cover. First up is the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES 2025 in Las Vegas, Nevada. In this show, we're going to be talking news, events. We might have a panel come on. We might have companies come on that are coming to the event and talking about their products and talking about what they're planning to do at CES 2025 and do a lot of other things. This one we're keeping a little bit low key simply because of the fact I got to figure out where all the I's and T's are to cross and dot them. And of course, like the little glitches that just happened right before this show. First of all, I do have to mention that this show is no way associated with any of the shows that I'm going to, in this case, the Consumer Electronics Show or Consumer Technology Association. It's purely an independent show that gives our own thoughts and ideas of what's going to be coming to CES 2025, what we're excited to see for CES 2025, and a lot more. Now, I've been a proud guest of CES for many years, as I have for a lot of these other shows that we'll be attending throughout the 2025 season. I proudly represent and I proudly get back information to you guys of new products coming out, of new ideas coming out, of new whatever coming out. And I'm ready to go for this next year and, of course, the years to come. We will have weekly sponsors on this show, but no company is going to be paying to be interviewed or anything like that. If any company is part of CES 2025, they are more than welcome to come on the show and talk about where they're going to be located, what they're going to be talking about, or anything like that, what they're planning. Now, sit back, relax, or watch, listen, something like that, to this limited series getting ready for CES 2025. And of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat down below over at youtube.com/Geekazine. You'll also be able to see this over at Geekazine.com, where you can check everything out, and that is over here at Geekazine.com. So, like we just posted this one about the UPerfect 18.5-inch dual monitor system. Lots of reviews, unboxes, interviews, and a lot more over at Geekazine.com or youtube.com/Geekazine. The studio is a little bit in disarray as I haven't really done this yet, and I do want to make sure that I got audio coming through. Hold on a second. Okay, perfect. I just needed to hear just a little itty bitty bit. So, all right, let's get started. We're basically going to be talking news here. So let's get, oops, what did I do? I want to come back here. There we go. Let's get into our first news segment. Now, the big news actually just came out in the last 48 hours, 24 hours, something like that. 24 hours, yeah. Delta is going to host the first keynote of CES in Las Vegas at the Sphere. Now, it's not the first keynote that happened at the Sphere. That was HPE Discover back in June. They did the first keynote. But it is going to be the first CES keynote at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Delta's flipping the bill on that, so that's pretty cool. It's going to be January 7th, and it'll basically honor Delta's legacy for basically everything that they've done over the past century. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to do 100 years of tech into this thing, so I'm really excited to see how that goes. I personally have not been in the Sphere, so this will probably, and I don't normally go to the keynotes. This might change my mind. I might just do that for the experience. But I have a feeling everybody else that's going to be attending CES is also going to try for that experience as well. So we're going to see what happens. We'll see if I can get in and what that's going to take. I don't know if they're going to have a special ticket system or whatnot, but I'm definitely going to make sure that I will check this all out. And of course, if you've been to the Sphere, you know what the excitement of the Sphere is. So that's something I've seen the outside of the Sphere, but I haven't seen the inside of the Sphere. Well, besides pictures that you guys sent, and that's great. So that would definitely be my first time. As for the keynote, very excited to see what's going to happen there. And of course, the big news of the keynote is that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is going to deliver the CES 2025 keynote. Of course, NVIDIA, the hot stock right now, the hot ticket right now because of AI. They hit the market running, and it was just amazing to watch how NVIDIA simply went from Bitcoin and all those cryptos to just kind of doing that shift into AI. They were doing AI. In fact, we did a couple things with them during COVID when they were releasing the Jetsons, which are these little PCB boards like a Raspberry Pi, except they had more power to them. And they were really working on different ways to do AI. Like, for instance, I could have set up the board to put a security camera on it. And then I could track people's faces and do heat maps and do all these other cool things, which we did. It was a lot of fun. I didn't really get it all, and I really wanted to work on it more, and I still have them here, so I could definitely continue to work, because they're just basically Ubuntu or Linux variant boards, so I could definitely set it up for a variety of things. But anyway, their shift to AI was it was almost seamless, and that's what I really was impressed about, was that whole idea that they could just maneuver over. They still have footprint in crypto, but it's not, of course, as prevalent as with AI, because it's the growing technology, the growing emergence. In fact, believe it or not, I actually have a couple servers in back that are ready to get and install an AI bot to them, and I'm really excited about that. We're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks. But of course, we'll also see people like Gary Shapiro, and we'll see some other companies that are going to be part of this whole event, and Delta, of course, being one of those. So very excited to see how this keynote is going to play out. Very excited to see how it's going to play out in the Sphere, and can't wait for that to happen. Now, that's what we're getting this news straight from the CES, Consumer Technology Association, which is the parent company to CES, and their news portal right there. So, all right. Another thing that CES is going to be doing is called the CES Creator Space. Now, Central Hall, the Las Vegas Convention Center has been going through some transformation of its own. In fact, they what was it? Was it NAB? I think it was NAB. All of North Hall was pretty much torn out. South Halls were torn out the year before, and eventually, I don't know if they got to Central Hall or not, but it was definitely, they're revamping, making sure everything is nice and clean and safe for people, and so I can't wait to see the new North Hall. It's also supposed to be a better direct connection to the West Hall, which, if you've never been to Vegas or CES, the convention center had a South Hall, an Upper South, a Lower South, still does, has Central Hall, which was the biggest hall and usually housed the bigger names. Like, for instance, Sony was always in the back corner, and at the time, Microsoft would always be in the front, Intel would always be in the front, Apple was in the front at certain times before they pulled out, yeah, a lot of other companies. So you'd see the big names usually in that Central Hall because it's a pretty big hall. South Hall, you had a South Upper and South Lower, which were big halls in their own right, and they did have some really big activations that you would go and you'd check out. A lot of performance stuff. And so it was always fun to watch it. But of course, trying to get in there to get interviews was always my thing. So I did a lot of fun there. North Hall, of course, will probably, I don't know if that's going to be opening up or not. I'm assuming it's going to be opening up, so you can also get to West Hall. Now, this also means that there's many different halls in the convention center, but there's also the Sands over at the Venetian, which usually they call Eureka Park. You might have heard that. That's going to house a lot of international companies. It's also going to house a lot of startup companies. So a lot of new technologies that people are looking for people to invest in them, looking for people looking to distribute the product that they have, things like that. That's what you're going to see at the Sands Eureka, and now in English, Eureka Park, and things like that. So, I'm going to focus a lot on the convention. Well, I focus on where the companies ask me to focus on. So, and every now and then, I'll have, I get companies to sponsor me to come to CES, and then I go and I interview them at their booth, and of course take a lot of video, and then send that off to you guys. So it's really tough for a one person like myself to cover the whole event. So I try to cover a little bit of each. So I'll be in West Hall for a little bit. I'll be in North Hall for a little bit. I'll be in Central. I'll be in South as best as I can. And of course, then I will also be at the Venetian and Sands, because that's actually about, well, it's tough to walk. You can walk it, but it's tough to walk. And if you get on the bus, it's usually about 30 minutes to an hour, because it's so congested. It's so crazy. So if you go to one of these halls, if you go to the Venetian, you might want to try to spend the day at the Venetian instead of trying to get back to the other halls, because it's going to be crazy. Plus, there's a lot of other areas in CES in Las Vegas, like for instance the Aria, the Cosmopolitan. A lot of these hotels are going to have something in them, whether during the day or during the evening, and it's usually a lot of technology that I don't participate in. There is one area, I think it's usually at the Aria, where they talk about things like Google TV and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to get to there, but I haven't found the means or the way to get there. That's where things like CES Unveiled and Showstoppers and Pepcom Digital Experience. Yeah, that's the name of it. That's where all those events come in, because they try and isolate the best of the best in these areas, so you can get those interviews pretty quick. So you don't have to traverse the convention center. Last time I knew, South Upper and Lower, Central, and North Hall were 33 football lengths. So add in West Hall, and you got more ground you have to cover. Add in the Venetian and Eureka Park. There's 2 levels to that, and you got more. It's like I said, it's almost impossible. Well, no, it is impossible for one person to cover the whole thing. If you had a team where one person was in each of the halls, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 halls, you might get lucky to get maybe 30 to 40% of the show. And we're not even talking those extra hotels and convention areas that are not part of that plan, because it's massive. It's massive. It's crazy. So, but anyway, in the Central Hall, they're going to have what's called a creator space. It's an innovative space that's basically going to help people empower the diverse communications of content creators and media who attend the show. So it's going to be really interesting on how that's all set up. So I'll definitely go over there and take a look. But the creator space is going to probably be a great place to do some relaxing, maybe even bring in people and do some interviews at a table rather than at their booth. I don't know. We'll see how that creator space really comes into play, but it will definitely be in there for a part of it for sure, if not utilizing the whole thing, So, all right, let's move on from here. Let's get into some news, which is what we're getting into. And of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and go over to the chat and ask those right away. Qualcomm is unveiling the Snapdragon 8 Elite as the world's fastest mobile CPU. And this is actually very exciting. So we're going to get into a mobile phone race. I know a lot of you are big iOS users, and rightfully so. I do have, full disclosure, I do have iOS devices. I also have Android devices. So, but my primary phone is an iOS device. The infrastructure of iOS is pretty amazing. If you live in there all in, as in your Mac, you run Macs for your laptop or your desktop, you run an iPad, you run an iPhone, you have an an Apple Watch, and you run Apple TV. You're in that ecosystem, not EcoStruct. Yeah, ecosystem. You're in that complete ecosystem, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing because there's a lot of security involved in there. There's a lot of trust between your devices, and now these devices are talking back and forth. In fact, when I got my iPhone 16 Pro Max, I simply just turned it on, and it said, "Hey, I see that you had the this iPhone. It's time to move over to here. Just say the word, and we'll do it." And that's what happened. I said the word, and it did it. It transferred it all over. I was happy. We were all happy. Everybody was happy. Happy people were happy. Sad people were happy. It was crazy, but we're all happy. And I got my phone back probably in a couple hours. And I didn't have to worry about transferring over and then downloading an app and then logging into the app. A lot of that stuff happened for me, which is great. And that's where that ecosystem really comes into. Android has an ecosystem too. Don't get me wrong on there. And I live in a Mac and a Windows world. I go back and forth between the two frequently. So I'm excited that we've got even more ways to connect, especially with Snapdragon with Qualcomm. I did do some stuff with Qualcomm back in 2019, back when 5G was rolling out, and all the excitement of automated vehicles were starting to come into play. The whole idea that you could be walking down the street and then a car would just stop because the driver didn't notice that you were crossing through the crosswalk, but the car did. And that's what I'm really, things like that really excite me for that. So with this new mobile CPU, we're getting faster, better on our mobile devices rather than laptops and desktops, to the point where, you would plug your mobile device into a dock and then you would use that as a computer. We've already seen that. I did an interview with Lenovo last year where they did have mobile devices that you just dock up and use as a computer. And for a lot of people, that's all they need, is something that they can put into a dock that gives them a keyboard, gives them a mouse, gives them a monitor, do the bigger tasks, and then undock and be able to work from there outside of that ecosystem. So it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting right there. So, all right. Where are we on time here? Okay, we're doing pretty good. Let's move on from here. I got some weird glitch going on, and I'm not sure why. Let's talk about Insta360. They're basically a GoPro competitor. Now, at NAB, I got to see this Ace Pro, which is a great action camera. They're coming out with the Ace Pro 2, which it sounds like they're going to be at CES. Don't totally quote me on that because I haven't really checked the show floor, but they've been in CESs in the past. So it's a very good bet that they will be on the show floor at CES 2025. They're basically processing chip, AI chip, for better noise reduction, for low light connections. I love these small cameras because they make my job 1,000 times easier. I have, last few shows, I've been using the DJI Pocket cameras, and I'm hoping that a new DJI Pocket, like the Pocket 4, will come out. I didn't buy the Pocket 3. I have the original Pocket and the second generation Pocket, or Pocket 2, and they work great. You probably don't even notice the difference. But Pocket 3 had some structural changes to it, a bigger screen. I'm hoping a Pocket 4 will come out before Christmas, so I can do the update on that and get a better camera. That's what I'm going to probably take with me to CES. It's not impossible that I could use the Ace Pro 2. I need something that I can connect up a microphone to. I need something that I could connect up a light to, hook it into a tripod or a monopod, which is what I normally use, and be able to see what's going on so I can focus in. Because too many times I'll zoom in on something, but it doesn't focus in on something. And that's a key right there. And I need to have a good screen where I can see it and be able to even move it over to my phone so I have an even bigger screen so I can be absolutely sure that I'm getting the right shot, because a lot of this stuff is gun and run. You are there in the booth for 15 minutes, and you get all the content that you can as best as you can. And if you end up with blurry content, you won't know until after the fact. So the idea is to get the content there then nice and clean, nice and tight, so when you get back to your hotel, you can do the editing, you can push it out and get some of the first articles out there as quick as possible. So speaking of which, as Geekazine is going to be going to CES, we've already got the okay. We got the hotel. Just need to get the flights. I am working on getting a team together to help with the editing process, maybe even help with some of the camera process. So if you are going to be at CES 2025 and you're looking to help out some people like myself, get a hold of me. Geekazine is where you're going to find me. Geekazine@gmail.com is the email address, definitely. But you can find me on all the socials at Geekazine. Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, of course. So, all right, let's move on from here. Let's go into the next item. There is an auto faction of CES because of the technology in auto and automotive, and that usually is what is covering in the West Hall. In the last couple of years, that's what we had. We had not only the vehicles, but also the big, like John Deere, which showed off this humongous combine last couple of years at CES. It's just a crazy, amazing, and big and awesome. So Toyota, of course, will most likely be there. We'll see a lot of the companies like that there. Of course, they don't have as big of a presence. In years past, they would then have to go to Detroit for the North American International Auto Show, which is an event that I've been to several times. It's amazing, but they have to have presence at both. And they're usually saving their big announcements for NAIAS. Now, NAIAS has moved dates. I think they're now in March or something like that. So this is not a big of a deal, but there's still they want to give announcements. They give announcements at CES, but it's probably not going to be as big as the North American International Auto Show, because that's usually when that happens. So, but events and information do come through, and of course, Toyota is going to be rumored to make an announcement that they're going to expand their Corolla line, and their new Corolla is actually going to be a pickup truck. Now, this is over on Hot Cars, and it's basically going to. I'm guessing this is something that's going to rival some of the newer truck vehicles out there that are coming, like the Cybertruck. I don't know how EV this vehicle is going to be, but to have, the Corolla name has been known for sedans for so many years now, and now there's going to be a Toyota pickup truck, and that's going to be a pretty cool game changer. I'm looking for new vehicles for this next year. And, I'm not really a big pickup fan. I like big trucks, and I cannot lie. But because it's got to fit a drum set. That's my main requirement. Car's got to fit a drum set. That's how I roll. So this will definitely fit a drum set, and probably put a topper on. Maybe it's got one of those roll toppers like the Cybertruck does. And then if I can fit a drum set and I can use it, I think, that might be a good game changer right there. But the Corolla-based compact pickup truck could be coming out in 2025. And it's just amazing that we're going to see this. And of course, the design. I mean, look at this design. This is kind of interesting. I remember in the 80s, we had the Stomper. Basically, you put a battery in them, and then you'd have like the track, and then you'd run around, and they'd have the trucks, but they'd be like puffier. And I remember toy cars looking like this. It's just crazy that we've gone to that point where these vehicles are looking like the toy cars, the Tonka trucks that we had when we were growing up. I could be wrong, maybe, but they're definitely looking a lot different. They also look like they got faces on them. I mean, look at that with the eyes. I'm not a big fan of the design headlights, the design tail lights, because I think that can confuse people. But that's where we are in this day and age, where we're going to have a brake light that has like 3-4 LED strips out of it, and they're going in different directions. And sometimes they'll look like an angry person, and sometimes they'll look like, I don't know, some sort of cryptic message or anything like that. So, and this definitely has some of the features. We don't know the features of it yet, but from this thing, it looks massive. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. Can't wait to see how that is. Is it a game changer? We'll find out as we go from there. So, all right. The Eureka Park Accessibility Contest basically returns to CES, and different startups will be one of 5 winners that get a complimentary booth at CES 2025. They're going to have 5 winners that will receive basically an 8x10 upgraded booth package, $25,000 award, and other promotional opportunities, basically going up to about $17,500. The submissions have already happened, so that's all closed. So it's going to be kind of exciting to see who these companies are winners, and get them interviewed. So I'll definitely be scouring the show floor. Speaking of the show floor, if there's any companies that you definitely want me to take a look at during this time, it's always a good time right now to let me know what you're seeing at CES so we can plan. There's going to be 2 types of interviews that I do. One is I basically am sponsored to go to their booth and do an interview with them. That's what's going to pay my bills to get out there. The other one is I'm going to randomly walk and get stuff that I didn't know was at CES. And that's always the fun thing. And I've been doing this since 2009 now. So this is going to be my 15th year of covering CES. And I do count the COVID years because I did cover them with a virtual conference, what I call the virtual conference call. So we basically had people come on the show and talk about the products. And that's what we're kind of going to do with the Road 2 as well. So with this, with these 2, there's going to be a point where it's like, do I need to search out certain companies that haven't hit my radar? That's where you guys come in. So what you'll do is you'll basically just tell me, hey, look at this company. Look at this company. This company is right down your alley. I want to know more about what's going to happen in gaming. I want to know what's happening more in medical. I'll try to cover it as best as I can. And that's basically where we're going to go from there. So definitely contact me from here. If you do want to help support Geekazine on the road to CES 2025, all you have to do is go over to amazon.com/shop/Geekazine. That's where it is. Amazon.com/shop/Geekazine. I have merch in the merch store over there, and of course several different t-shirts. I'll show you some of them really quick. This one is 80s Jesus saved me one floppy at a time. That's this one right here. That's one of my favorite ones. Another one is I like geek butts and I cannot lie. The original AI, Geek AI, which is what started with my whole merch. Well, it didn't start with my whole merch journey, but definitely reinvigorated it, because we have a few different t-shirts with the Geek AI on it. Guardian the Geekery, and there's new one that's coming very soon. I don't know if it got released yet on the Amazon store, but it is I was born to geek out. That's the name of the shirt. I don't even have one yet because it's so brand new. So all these shirts can be found over at amazon.com/shop/Geekazine. You'll see the merch store link. You'll click on there, and then there's all the shirts that you can get. And definitely supports the channel. I appreciate that very, very much. So, all right. Last thing, and then we'll get you on your merry way, and that is December 3rd is what they're calling Giving Tuesday. Now, there's no link to this. This actually is coming from an email. So I just basically copy and pasted the email. So it's a CTA Foundation asking consumer technology, the community, to help turn the global day of generosity, Giving Tuesday, as a hashtag, into a day that showcases technology, the ability to impact lives, and make the day making the day Giving Tech Day. Share stories about how tech gives, inspire others, donate to the CTA Foundation, all this other stuff. That is how you can help out with this. But the big thing is that hashtag, which is hashtag Giving Tech Day. And of course, they have an email address, Steve Ewell, SEWell@CTAFoundation.tech, if you want to participate there. Tell them that Jeffrey Powers from Geekazine sent you. I appreciate that very much. It always helps me with getting to events like CES and a lot more. All right. I think that does it for today for this one. Yeah, that's it for today. First of all, once again, I do have to say that this is an independent show. This is not sponsored by any of the events that I'm going to be going to in the next year. And events that I usually go to are Consumer Electronics Show, South by Southwest, NAM, which is National Association of Music Merchants. And unfortunately, those two line up pretty tandem. In fact, NAM is like 2 weeks right after CES. It makes it tougher to get to NAM so I can cover some of the cool technology, music technology out there. But I'm going to try my best to do that. And looking for sponsors is always something that I'm doing. So definitely get hold of me if you're looking for somebody to do some video out at any of these events. So South by Southwest, National Association of Broadcasters, a lot of these smaller independent shows, whenever they have expo halls, that's something that really works for me. So if you have an event coming up and you need some coverage, let me know, and we can definitely talk from there. So like I said, in the coming weeks, I'm going to be getting interviews. We'll probably get a small panel on other people coming to the Consumer Electronics Show and talk about what we're expecting for CES 2025. Are we going to see a lot more AI? Are we going to see more Bitcoin? Are we going to see something new, something that people haven't talked about yet? Because this is the show where a lot of these new technologies, these new ideas start to culminate. ATSC, you might not know, is ATSC 3.0, is where TV signals might be going in the future. That's a big technology. I reported back in even 2016, 2017, when ATSC 3.0 was starting to be tested but not rolled out yet. That's where stuff like this comes in, because then we learn about it, it starts to get in our brain. We start to formulate, we start to percolate on what possibilities are coming in the future. And then we can help guide it or help people understand what's going to happen with the phones, with the cars, with everything. So that's what's so important with CES, with some of these other, like Mobile World Congress. It's another event I'd really love to get to, but it's in Barcelona, and maybe down the line we'll get there. But it's these events that we're definitely going to try and get to. And Taro says hello, how you doing? I'm glad you're watching the show. Thank you very much. So, but that does it actually bring us to the end of this episode. We're going to be doing this next Wednesday. I'm going to try and figure out the time for this. You can definitely watch it live, or of course it's going to be up on YouTube and in podcast form otherwise. So definitely check that out over at geekazine.com, youtube.com/geekazine, where you can like, subscribe, comment, and of course bell notification, so you know when the next podcast comes out. So that does it for me for this inaugural episode of The Road to, a podcast about going to events. I'm still making it up as I go. Let me know what you think about that. So, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. If you've got ideas, if you want to be a part of the panel, you want to be a part of the show, let me know by going over to Geekazine at geekazine@gmail.com. Think magazine, put in a geek, and you got me. So, all right, that does it for me. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, you guys geek out and take care. This has been The Road to. I do have a graphic, but I forgot to put it up. Let's see if I can put it in here really quick. Hold on. And I'm going here. And I'm going here. We'll have music and everything coming up. The first one you just want to kind of get out of the way. Where is it? There it is. There we are. Right there. And that's The Road to. See you later.